Hi. Hey, what do you think's going to happen with Joseph? This is the next story. He is in Egypt. He's going to help the Pharaoh save extra grain and food. Remember? All right, let's see what happens next. The famine was happening all over. Joseph and the people of Egypt had enough to eat, but in other countries, people were starving. Far away in Canaan, Joseph's brothers and sisters and his father Jacob had hardly anything to eat. One day Jacob said to his sons, I hear there's a lot of food in Egypt. Take some of the donkeys and go to Egypt to see if you can buy some. So 10 of the brothers left for Egypt. Benjamin didn't go because he was the youngest. His father Jacob worried that Benjamin might get hurt on such a long trip. When the brothers got to Egypt, they asked, Where can we buy food? Go see the person who takes care of all the food, they were told. Of course, the brothers didn't know that was Joseph. When they had sold Joseph to the traders many years before that, they didn't think they would ever see him again. Joseph knew his brothers right away. Joseph was very surprised, but he didn't say anything. He was glad to see his brothers, but Joseph was still angry at them for selling him to the traders. Joseph felt both angry and happy. He was all mixed up inside. I think you are spies, Joseph said. Oh, no, said the brothers. We're just 10 brothers who have come to buy food. We're not spies. If you are brothers, what is your father's name? Our father's name is Jacob. He is living in Canaan. Joseph was so happy to hear that his father was still alive. He had to stop talking for a while, and he turned away from his brothers. He didn't want them to see the tears in his eyes. Are there other members of your family? Joseph asked. There's one more brother, Benjamin, but he was too young to come with us. Any others? Joseph was feeling angry now. Well, no, there was another brother, but he died. What do you mean he died? Joseph was very angry. The brothers just stood there. They didn't know what to say. They were afraid to say that they had sold their brother as a slave. Joseph could see from the faces of his brothers that they were very sorry for what they had done. I am Joseph, your brother, he said. The brothers couldn't believe it at first. It didn't seem possible. Then they felt afraid. If this really is Joseph, they thought, he will be very angry at us for what we did to him. Don't be afraid, said Joseph. I think God wanted me to be in Egypt. God wanted me to help people so they wouldn't starve. Thank God, said Reuben, the oldest brother. Thank God. Then the brothers started hugging Joseph, and Joseph was hugging them, and they were hugging each other. All of them were crying. Finally, Joseph blew his nose and said, Go back to Canaan. Bring father and Benjamin and the whole family here to Egypt. I know a nice place where you can live, and there's lots of food here in Egypt. When the brothers had told Jacob for the 20th time about Joseph in Egypt, the old man finally believed them. Suddenly, he looked as if he were 20 years younger. Well, said Jacob, what are we waiting for? Don't just stand around, let's go. As Jacob and all his family left Canaan, God came and repeated the promise. Israel will become a great nation, said God, and you will come back again to live in your own country. That is how the people called Israel came to be living in Egypt. All right. There's more in this story if you read it out of the Bible. Joseph was happy to see his brothers, but he was also angry. He was angry at how they treated him. But they're family, so he missed them and he misses his father. So Jacob doesn't treat them that well when they first come. He plays a lot of games with them and makes them do things. He makes them go back and get their brother Benjamin and bring him to him, and then he sends them back again later to get their dad. So there's a couple extra trips in there that they don't talk about in this story. And it takes Joseph a while to kind of get over his anger at his brothers. but he finally does. And his brothers are actually very remorseful. They're sorry that they did what they did, and they're glad to see him. But they know what they did was wrong, and so that's what makes them actually a little afraid of Joseph at this point. They don't know if he's going to take revenge on them. And he does a couple times, but not in the way that gets them killed. Just enough to make them scared. So that's a very normal way for people to react. But it's not necessarily the best way, right? So the good thing is they're able to be reconciled, which means they make up with each other and come to a place of understanding with each other where they can be at peace. And Joseph ends up actually caring for them. I'm wondering, who do you fight with a lot, or have arguments with, or get jealous and want their stuff and they want your stuff, or sometimes you need their help or you want to play with them, and other times you get mad at them and you don't want to play with them. You ever have those kind of friends, or maybe with your brothers and sisters? That's kind of what's going on here. But what do you do when you have a fight with your friend or your sibling? How do you reconcile that? How do you say I'm sorry or make up for what you've done to get your relationship back with them into a better place? How do you do that? What kinds of things? I think saying I'm sorry is a really good way to start. And being able to listen to the other person and know how whatever you did might have hurt their feelings, or it might have made them angry. How did what you do make them feel? And then how does that make you feel about what you did? And if you can tell the other person about your feelings and listen to what their feelings were, it's not easy. Sometimes it's more painful to have to listen to how we hurt someone, and we want to explain and say why we did what we did, because we don't want them to hurt, and we don't want to believe that we hurt them, right? But sometimes we have to admit that we hurt someone, and we might not have done it on purpose, and we might not do what we did differently, but somehow we have to find a way to get along and care for one another. So sometimes it's tricky and very hard, but learning to listen to other people and how they feel is the best way to work through these things. So maybe a good picture to draw, or you could show different people's emotions. How do you look when you're angry? How do you look when you're excited and happy? Can you create those different emotions and maybe show your friends and different ways that you have listened to their feelings? I don't know. You could just draw what's going on in the story. Okay. Bye.